A lot of credit goes to Queso, AC, Lou, Dub at times. K. Rich came in and made big plays for us all the way down the line. And then understanding that you don't guard good players with just one person. So it's a team effort out there. We're always helping each other, helping the helper. And then, it allows you to play more aggressive when you know that somebody has your back on the backside.
So let's start with the first half, because according to the ESPN recap, it was a totally different game early on.
It really was. Minnesota had the lead at halftime, 48-44.
And what was driving that for them?
Well, a huge part of it was Julius Randle. He was incredible in the first half, 20 points.
Yeah, and the shooting, 5 of 6 from 3.
Just unconscious. Couldn't seem to miss from deep.
He was absolutely on fire. But on the flip side, the Thunder's main guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, kind of slow start for him.
Yeah, really quiet by his standards. Only 11 points, and the shooting was rough. 2 of 13.
Oof.
A lot of patience in the second half, and then our rushed offense, didn't get a bunch of quality looks, and then it affected our defense, honestly. We got some fouls early, which I thought made us a bit softer than we needed to be. And then, it was just, then when we did get good looks, they didn't go down. So,
not what you expect.
Not at all. Which actually makes it pretty significant that OKC was only down 4 at the break, right?
That's a great point.
Their coach, Mark Daigneault, he even mentioned that, called it a major victory. Just being that close with SGA struggling like that.
Yeah, what does that tell you? It suggests they were, hanging tough in other ways.
Must have been. Defense, maybe. Or just limiting the damage, keeping Minnesota from really running away with it.
Show some resilience, maybe. Kept themselves in the fight until the offense woke up.
Did it ever wake up?
Oh, man, the second half, just a complete reversal.
Total flip. Thunder scored 70 points after halftime. 70. Minnesota only got 40.
And that third quarter was the big one, 32-18. It just felt like a different Thunder team came out.
Absolutely. And guess who led the charge?
Had to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep. He scored 20 of his 31 points in that second half. And the shooting was way better, 8 of 14. Much more like himself.
So what changed for him? Did he adjust something or just find it?
Well, listening to him after the game, he kind of downplayed any big shift. He said, I didn't particularly change my mindset, honestly. I just tried to continue to be aggressive, trust my work.
So just persistence, sticking with it even after a rough start.
Seems like it. That mental strength is huge for stars.
No doubt. The ESPN recap talks about a specific 10-0 run in that third quarter. That feels like the moment OKC really grabbed control.
It did feel like the turning point, yeah. Took the lead right there.
And what fueled that run? Was it all SGA?
Not entirely. You actually had some maybe unexpected contributions. Like Kenrich Williams.
Oh, yeah, came off the bench.
Right, rarely used guy, hits a mid-range shot, then bangs a 3. Those kinds of plays, they really boost the team that's making the run.
And they can be pretty deflating for the other guy.
Exactly.
And then you layer in those highlight plays, right? Like Holmgren's spinning dunk or that crazy falling shot, plus the free throw from SGA.
Yeah, those were momentum plays.
Do you think those highlight reel moments actually affect the other team's psyche beyond just the points?
Oh, I think so. They could definitely be demoralizing. It's like, wow, these guys have an answer for everything. The game's slipping away. It just visually confirms that shift.
Makes sense. But okay, let's flip it back. Why couldn't Minnesota stop the bleeding or respond in that second half? Randle cooled off big time.
He did. Only 8 points after his hot start. Maybe OKC adjusted defensively. Maybe he just, came back down to earth.
And their main star, Anthony Edwards, he was pretty contained too. 18 points, 5 of 13 shooting. That's below his usual playoff numbers.
Yeah, definitely held in check. And he actually talked about it afterwards, said the Thunder were packing the paint, doubling him a lot.
Ah, okay. So, a deliberate defensive strategy from OKC?
Sounds like it. Edwards mentioned needing to shoot more, maybe play more off the ball to counter it. He seemed to think they could exploit that paint packing going forward.
We'll see. But it clearly worked in Game 1. And this ties into that Sports Illustrated article, right? The other big part of Minnesota's struggle.
For us, to play as poorly as we did offensively in the first half and to be down 4 was a major victory for us at halftime. And the defense was a huge catalyst in that. I thought offensively, it's a very different series. It's a very different team stylistically, and I just thought it took us some time to calibrate that. They're a lot more pressure-oriented on the perimeter. They're a lot more physical on the perimeter. Denver, plays you at a lower pickup and packs it in. Their physicality is different, but this team is really up the floor, pressuring, and really after you. And so I just thought it took us a second to calibrate to the opponent, but our defense allowed us the margin to do that, obviously.
The three-point shooting.
Yes. Outside of Randall's crazy start, it got ugly. And that's where this unfortunate bit of NBA history comes in.
Okay, what was it?
They attempted 51 three-pointers in the game. 51. That's the most ever in a conference finals game or later.
Whoa. Okay, so high volume, but were they making them?
That's the problem.
Okay.
Volume was record-breakingly high, but accuracy, not so much.
Yeah.
After Randall went 5 for 6,
Yeah.
the rest of the team combined shot just 10 of 45 from 3. That's 22.2%.
Ouch. So you set a record for attempts, but you shoot terribly on most of them. That's not a winning formula.
Not usually, no.
Yeah.
It raises questions about, like, were those good shots? Or were they forcing things because the paint was clogged?
The SI article compared it to a Celtics loss, right? Where they also took a ton of threes.
Yeah, basically said they both kind of shot themselves out of contention. Just shows how risky it is to lean that heavily on the three if it's not your night. And it all comes back to what Edward said. The Thunder packing the paint. It sounds like OKC's plan was maybe, okay, clog the lane, make them beat us from outside.
And they were maybe, as Edwards put it, banking on us not making shots.
Did that strategy work overall for OKC's defense?
Well, the results kind of speak for themselves, and there's this other crazy stat from the ESPN recap.
Okay.
The Thunder have now had 4 halves this postseason where they've outscored their opponent by 30 points or more.
4 halves by 30 plus.
4. That's apparently twice as many as any other team in NBA playoff history. More than the 2018 Warriors, the 2017 Cavs, 2016 Cavs. They only did it twice.
That is astounding. That points to some serious defensive clamps when they lock in.
It really does. That ability to just dominate stretches of games is incredible.
Greatest of third quarters, this playoff run so far. We want to make that emphasis, like come out of halftime with a punch, with a little jolt, with some energy, and not ease into it. We'd be better off towards the end of the game. We just made that emphasis, and we didn't panic. Obviously, with the struggles in the first half, we missed a bunch of layups as a group. We missed free throws, like the easy ones, and we knew that we stuck with it. They would eventually fall, and they did.
So, given that defensive success and Minnesota's shooting woes, what's the chess match look like for Game 2?
It's fascinating, right? Do the Wolves try to force the issue inside more, even with traffic, look for mid-range? Or do they just keep bombing threes and hope they fall this time? And for OKC, do they stick with packing the paint, or do they anticipate a counter?
Exactly. Lots of adjustments to think about.
We should also mention the context here. OKC had just finished that tough 7-gamer against Denver. Not much rest.
Right. Quick turnaround.
Whereas Minnesota had a whole week off after their sweep. You'd think that rest would favor the Wolves.
You would think. Didn't seem to play out that way in Game 1, though. Maybe the Thunder just carried that momentum straight through.
Could be. And the reaction from Wolves coach Chris Finch was pretty brief, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much move-on vibes. It's Game 1. Congrats to them. They played really well. There's another game in 2 days.
Keeping it simple. And that next game, Game 2, is also in Oklahoma City on Thursday, so not a lot of time for Minnesota to regroup.
No, they need answers quickly if they want to avoid going down 0-2 on the road.
Definitely. So Game 1, really a tale of 2 halves. You had the Thunder's huge second-half surge, led by SGA getting hot, and that defense really turning the screws.
Yeah, contrasted sharply with Minnesota's offense just stalling out, especially that record-breaking but ultimately ineffective three-point barrage.
When you pull all those threads together, the halftime score, SGA's turnaround, the bench contributions, the defensive strategy, that wild shooting stat, you get a much clearer picture of how that 26-point blowout happened.
Absolutely. It wasn't just one thing. It was a combination of factors that really tilted the game so dramatically.
It really sets the stage for the rest of this series. Should be interesting to see how things evolve from here.
It really should. And it leaves us, and you listening, with this thought. Given that massive swing from the first half to the second, and Minnesota's historically high volume but low percentage shooting night, what's the biggest adjustment you think each team needs to make for Game 2? And specifically for the Timberwolves, do they stick with launching that many threes? Or do they need a fundamental shift in approach after Game 1? That's the big question now.